I'm Kamika Dillard, certified ACC professional coach and CEO of Fail-Forward Coaching. At Fail-Forward Coaching, professional growth isn't one size fits all. That's why we've created 3 ways to support you. DOT for building clarity and direction, RISE for resilience and intentional action, and VISION for long-term strategy and leadership. Each program is designed to help you move through setbacks with confidence and clarity and create momentum that lasts. No pressure, no hustle, just real progress. Ready to explore what's possible? Book a free discovery call at failforwardcoaching.com. Welcome to the Black Women Will Save Black Women podcast, the podcast where we support, amplify, validate, and elevate Black women always. I'm your host, Kamika Dillard, and this is our sanctuary, a space built on the belief that when Black women show up for each other, not only do we survive, we save. This is more than a podcast, it's a movement, so let's get into it. In this week's Fail Forward Files, I want to focus on numbers and how numbers don't always tell the full story. I'm going to be really transparent about my journey in starting this podcast and trying to build this community. It has been challenging for me. I am a data-driven girly. I check obsessively the numbers every day, how many folks are downloading the podcast, how many people are liking, following, subscribing, doing all the things. And the numbers are not where I want them to be. And I'm trying to be okay with that. And it's challenging because, like I said, I'm a data-driven girly. But I am blessed to have a great board of directors, aka my girls in the group chat. Shout out to the faves. They know who they are. And one of them recently poured into me about numbers. And she told me to stop looking at the numbers, especially with the podcast, the downloads, the listens. And she has her own podcast, and she shared a story about how one of her friends, we're going to call her Gail. Gail had a teenager that had just been dealing with a lot of stuff mentally, going through high school, and being in high school nowadays is not something I would wish upon myself. I know my mental health probably couldn't deal with it. And Gail's teenager was having a hard time. And one day she wound up playing a clip from my girl in my board of directors podcast. And that clip was so transformational for Gail's teenager. It really inspired them to get up, make some changes, and get on the proverbial good foot. And I share this story she shared the story because, one, I was like, what is the whole point of all this? She was all like, the point is, if you helped one person is enough. You don't know the long-term ramifications of it. And she had a very good point. Like, I watch a lot of old school television shows. I'm really into, what is the name of the show? It escapes me. But it's like the guy goes Quantum Leap. The guy goes back in time to like interact with one person to like fix a ton of future events. And when she told me that, I automatically thought about Quantum Leap. And you don't know if the person that you are impacting might like have the cure for cancer, just to kind of put it in like a bigger perspective. So at this time of the year, while we're setting new goals, trying to get a lot of stuff done, don't focus on results and numbers initially. Really focus on being consistent. You might want to reflect on your progress and, keep like reiterating to make sure you're doing the things that will help drive your consistency. But know that the numbers may not tell the full story, especially when I think about weight loss. You could be losing inches off your waist, but the scale's not moving. Your A1C could be going down, but the scale's not moving. So we know that the scale doesn't tell the full story. So I have to, for myself, which is why it's this week's Fail Forward Files, remind myself that while I might only get a few likes on a post, a couple of subscribers a week, I'm still doing doing the things that is consistent to make sure that I'm building the community I set forth to do. So don't be discouraged by numbers because I am not. And that is this week's Fail Forward Files. All right. Now, let's get into this week's interview. This week's guest is Jayla, also known as Binz, owner of Inform Reky and a practicing Reiki healer, training as a full spectrum doula. Inspired by her own journey with menstrual pain, she now helps Black women, non-binary people, and anyone with a womb reconnect with their bodies and healing energies. Through Inform Reky, she offers Womb and Sacral Energy Reiki, full body and distance sessions, and is preparing to blend Reiki with birth work to provide restorative care during pregnancy and beyond. Let's welcome to the sanctuary, Jayla. Hey, girl.
Hi. I feel very fortunate to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. Now, when we first talked, you did not tell me about, is it Binz or Binz? Like, I want to make sure I get your AKA right.
It's like Binz, like
the car?
Solange song Binz. You guys should give her a couple streams, by the way.
We love Solange over here, okay? That girl, she's read me for filth through a couple of songs, couple back in the day albums. So, okay, awesome. Well, we know why you're here. We know that you were recently impacted by a layoff this year. So, tell us your story.
Okay, yes, my story, it is such a journey. This year has been absolutely crazy, but it's been probably one of my best years at the same time, if I'm being honest. So things were a little shaky at work, rocky, not due to anything personal, which is what has kept me, I think, it kept me sane for a little while I was laid off, because it was good to know that I wasn't laid off due to my lack of work or my work ethic or lack thereof, even though that's not the case with everything and everybody. But to get back to your initial question, so things were weird in January, and then April 16th came. I remember the date because not only was it my day off, I was on my way to Philly to see one of my close friends from college get married. And I received the email early in the morning stating that I was furloughed. And I immediately reached out to people that I'm close with at work. A bunch of us got furloughed, probably like a quarter or like half of that. And I was like, you know what? I'll deal with this tomorrow. I need to be present today. So had the wedding, had a day in Philly. That was fun. And then all of a sudden, about like 15 days later, so like about April 30th, I got the final email that the company was shutting down, and people, obviously the furloughed people were laid off, and then everybody that was still there, they were also laid off. So that was a huge shock because months ago, we did as a company get reassurance from our CEO that that wouldn't happen. On a personal level, I didn't believe that. But you have to take people's word for what they say. So
Why was your gut
it
telling you that this wasn't all it seemed to be?
my gut was telling me because I worked in the production department, and while I did not see all the financials, things for my job got a little bit more tighter. So I'm somebody that I cannot believe all words. I also see the actions. So the actions and what was happening in real life, what was not aligning with what we were being told in our weekly meetings or just from leadership overall and what was happening. Uh, I'm not faulting people for believing somebody's word, but if actions don't match what is coming out of the person's mouth, then you just have to make the decision and assessment for yourself.
So let's make sure that our listeners understand the difference between furloughed and being laid off. So furlough means that you were told, hey, we're going to like temporarily suspend you working for a short period of time, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And
So,
then I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, so I was temporarily like basically put on pause from work, and so I didn't have to show up for work. I didn't have to work. And I basically just had to sit and wait from leadership on whether I would be coming back to work or whether they were going to let me go.
Okay, and then you got the notice a couple of weeks after that that hey, we got to now permanently lay you off.
Yes. And that was it was more of a disappointment than a shock, honestly. I have never experienced a layoff before, and just for it to happen so abruptly, since there were, and not only was it a layoff, the company was shutting down. Like the company is no longer existing. It's like I can't people can't apply for it anymore. It's gone. So because that happened, I didn't think I would receive severance. I wasn't even sure about my last paycheck from them because that was late at that point as well. It was a pretty scary situation with that, but thankfully I do have a community that I can rely on and family. So I knew I would be okay. Plus just faith in myself in the future.
I love it. Now you mentioned the money, so every show, everyone knows we're gonna ask about these dollars. So when
Oh,
you
no,
were
done with it.
when you were laid off, did they offer you a severance?
No, they did not offer me a severance. I wasn't even sure if I was going to get my paycheck from April 15th because on the 16th it was late. So I was not offered anything. What I did immediately was once I found out the company was shutting down, I was like, how am I going to survive? And I withdrew my entire 401k just to start that before I applied for unemployment. It's about I'm somebody I like nice things and I like to maintain my life. And like most people, especially in America, I don't like to be inconvenienced by other people. So I'm gonna make sure I am good and I can maintain how I want to live. So I made that decision. I don't regret it. It's actually not the first time my 401k has been zero or non-existent. It was much smaller the first time, but if I bounce back the first time, I could definitely bounce back the second time. So
So you did not have the traditional 6 months of savings.
no, I probably had, I don't even know. Um, I probably had about, I want to say 3 to 4 months of rent.
And you
Yeah.
live where so that the people can understand what that means.
I live in Brooklyn, New York. So that means when you walk out of the door, you immediately breathe $20 out of your pocket. That's what that means. Minimum. That's what that means. So, um, yeah, that's on top of like rent, on top of other bills and stuff. That was something that I knew I was gonna have to ask for help the first time, even with unemployment because it was before they had raised the limit. And so it was very low. And that was something I briefly battled with because I am the oldest sibling of my brother and sister. And I know my mom was getting back into work and doing her thing. So I didn't really want to ask her for money, but she is someone who's always had my back and been supportive when I needed her. So she was there to help me out in moments that I needed it the most.
So I want to frame and like level set with our audience, like who you are as a person, Jayla. So how old are you?
I am 30 years old. I am the oldest sibling of a brother and sister. They are twins. Shout out to them. Um, I am somebody that is independent or tries to be as independent as possible. I like to stay on top of my things, whether it be work or bills or just keeping my place tidy and clean. I try to live a balanced life. I'm not sure how else to describe. I like to have fun, so it's really a duality. While I am a little strict with some things, I also like to go out and have fun. And at the same time, I like to take moments by myself just to reset and heal and make sure I'm emotionally present and not too overwhelmed.
Yeah. And the reason why I asked you to kind of level set with the audience, so far, a lot of our guests have been closer to my age, which is like early 40s, late 30s. But this is your first layoff. This is like, okay, you're completely transparent and saying my 401k is down to zero. And some people might hear that and get a little afraid. But you said like, hey, I've been here before. This is not my first rodeo in terms of having a zero 401k. I can build back. I think that says a lot about your resilience. And I want to make sure like folks know that just because you might have to take a few steps back, it's not the end of the world. You can come back from small financial like setbacks. So that's why I wanted you to like kind of level set with the people who you were and kind of like your current situation, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for sharing. Let's talk about like your first 30 days post layoff. What did you do?
My first 30 days. So, being honest, what was it? May 1st to May 30th, I had family stuff going on. My sister was graduating, so I was focusing on that, birthdays, Mother's Day. And then honestly, summer was coming up. Summer is my season. I'm a summer baby. I love the heat and all of it. So and I was preparing for my birthday trip in June. And even though the layoff happened, stuff was booked, it was non-refundable. So the trip was happening regardless. So I decided I've been in other financial constricting situations where I didn't have as much support as I feel like I do now. And they were much heavier situations. So I knew this time I wasn't going to allow myself to just dwell in it, sit in it, let it absorb me. And I kind of spiral into like a darkness or like a depression. I decided that I was gonna enjoy myself. So I was hanging out with my homegirls. I was going out. I was going to parties. I was also making sure my bills were good. I was cleaning. I was making sure one thing that I definitely made sure was that I had a routine that kept me level-headed. So I did my best to wake up at 5 a.m. as I did before so I could work out. One thing that really helped me was just reaching out to community, and I started working with two friends on their own smaller businesses while they didn't have money to pay me at the time. Um, I just knew that it was important to keep my mind sharp and keep myself present in what was happening. So I was working with them and making sure, like, building more skills and just overall keeping my world as normal as possible during this time, even though there was like a huge shift. But really, I think it was just the support of my friends and my family and the summer heat, if I'm being honest. The sun heals me so much. Like I was having a ball. This summer I had so much fun. I'm not even gonna lie.
So you had such a like different reaction than I think I would have in terms of bringing in my 30th birthday unemployed.
Yes.
Where did you go on vacation, girl? Because it couldn't have been me.
I I went to Cartagena, Colombia. That was my first time in South America, and it was the first time I brought together like my cousin with my best friend and like two other really close friends, basically my best friends too. Everybody's energy was amazing. The synergy was great. I knew they would all get along, so that also just helped it. Like anywhere we went in the city during the time we were there, like we brought the party with us. So yeah,
I've heard
just
good
great. Plus,
things.
two of the people I was with one of the girls used to work at the job with me, but
Mm.
she had gotten a new job like months before any of this happened. And the other friend, she was literally with me in the same situation, furloughed and then laid off. So going through it with somebody who was like not alone, we met at work and we got really close because of work. I think that also helps. Her support. She is a really positive person. Her faith is like unbelievable. Her optimism honestly inspires me. So I think that also gave me a lot of resilience.
Do you find yourself hanging out with more women who are in your situation now than prior to?
Um, Now I would say yes, only because there was one other friend that I have. She ended up being laid off because of a different situation, but she is freelancing and that happened to work out for her. Unlike me, I had a lot of interviews, like probably about like five or six that got to the second or third round. About one or two of them were through referrals as well. And they said no. And like, I even emailed a couple back, like, do you have any feedback for me? Is there something I could have like did better? No replies really, but being on the inside, to situations like that when people were applying, there could be a number of reasons. And I understand like there could be just like a hiring freeze, it could be finances. Somebody just didn't look at my application that day and they didn't care to like, I don't know. But
I
I
mean,
just decided not to take anything personal.
of course. So that's a great transition for where I want to take us. So, are you currently looking for employment now, or what are you choosing to do?
To be honest, I am freelancing right now. I am lightly interviewing, but I just based off of how the year went, it's been about like 6 months with me doing this whole new song and dance. I don't know if I want to go back to traditional W-2 employment. I think there's a reason that for me particularly, I'm in this situation. And I think I need to lean into that all the way, honestly. Yeah, I started my business, and while that is still taking off the ground, which is why I really resonated with what you said in the beginning with about numbers, because to get the numbers aren't hard. And just because you have the numbers, at least in the service industry, doesn't mean they always will convert to the dollars. And I need the dollars. So, yeah, I think freelancing is just believing in yourself and your ability, knowing who you are. And can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Okay. And saying fuck imposter syndrome because that shit does not exist. So, I am leaning into myself, my ability. If other people believe I can do it and they're hiring me for it, that means I believe I can do it as well. And then just using my Reiki business as a I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say shipment, but as just a main source of displaying who I am. I'm accepting I am a healer. Energy healing is a different type of healing, but I've known for years now. I've always been a healer through my words. I didn't know how to make that a service or monetize off of that particularly. Um, and I didn't know if I wanted to either, but the Reiki business kind of is something that just really fits me and I'm excited to really dive into it. I have a lot of ideas and bigger picture things that I can feel it, I can see it, I have faith it'll happen. It just will take time and dedication.
So, tell me how you got into Reiki. Reiki.
Yes. So I got into Reiki um it probably we're in 2025. So about 3, 4 years ago. I was living with two other roommates. One was my cousin, and we were really going through like a tough time. It was more than just a roommate situation. Living with family, it gets a lot deeper than that. So having my home be a place that wasn't safe for me emotionally because there was a lot of tension there, and I love my family, and I just wasn't like seeing eye to eye with her. It was a lot. So I was like, I don't really know what Reiki is. Fuck it, I'll book a Reiki session. So I booked it. It actually was with a Black woman, and it was a great experience. It wasn't anything too crazy. I didn't know what to expect. I just laid down on the table and like in a Reiki session, the healer will either put their hands on you or just like over you. Clothes on, there's no clothes off. I felt very comfortable, and I saw just like pitch black, white boxed outline and like blue flowers around it. And being in a space of turmoil and knowing about like just healing and stuff, I spoke with her about it. And the color blue is often associated with the throat chakra. So since I was living in a situation that was very tough, I wasn't really speaking up because I was trying to keep the peace, and it just wasn't working out. So the blue flowers represented that I need to use my throat chakra more. And once I started speaking up more, yes, it got a little messier. Yes, it resulted in yelling, got ugly and stuff, but it really, I don't regret anything because now everything is where it's supposed to be. It's in a better place. Me and her are in a better place. We've made up, love her down. We love each other. That's all that matters.
I love it. I did a Reiki session at the beginning of the year for the first time with my girlfriend. Shout out to S.A.V.E, Sisterhood of the Vanishing Ancestor. We went to Arizona, or not Arizona, New Mexico during the inauguration weekend of that Orange Man. And our Reiki session was so powerful. The Reiki healer was like, you guys brought in like a ton of people with you. And that's what they were saying. Like, she was like, I don't know where all these people came from. And it was so like I'm a woo woo girl. Everyone will know that what that means. I'm a woo woo girl. I do the Reiki.
Shout out to
I
the
do my
woo girl.
cards. I do all the things. Okay. Yes, I am one of those people. Aries Sun, Sagittarius Moon, Virgo Rising. Okay, we know what all the things mean. And so when we did that Reiki session, we had like all these like noises was happening around us, and we know this lady locked the door. And when the session was over, she was just like, yeah, you guys brought all these ancestors with you. And I think about that session and kind of what you said about, like, hey, I know everything is going to be all right. That whole weekend was so validating and prepared me for the turmoil of this year, in a sense. So I really resonate with like that need of resetting and having that energy come out so that things can get better. So I love it. So tell us about the business. Tell us where you are with the business. Share so we can support.
Yes, of course. So, oh, by the way, the E is silent in inform. It's supposed to be
Oh,
inform Reiki.
thank you.
Yeah, I tried to be a little fancy,
Little
add like a little
French.
French spelling, you know.
Okay. Listen, I everyone knows I mispronounce things here. I have no shame. Okay. So Inform Reky. Tell us about it.
Yes, I will tell you about it. So, I started it as not only a business to help myself, but as a way of a contribution to healing within not only my worlds, like my radius, people I meet that I know and don't know. Hopefully, more people that I don't know, I could just like reach out to and touch people, I guess, figuratively and literally. And send healing that way. I started it through a program, New York Unemployment had, well, I registered the business before the program, but I did find out New York has a program called the Self-Employment Acceptance Program, Self-Employment Application Program. I need to fact check that and remember.
Okay, girl.
But it's SEAP for short, SEAP. Basically, they allow you to start your business, and instead of doing like job fair check-ins and like work check-ins, you just have certain benchmarks and things you have to submit to show you are active with your business, such as meeting with a mentor, going to classes, or having a business plan, reporting your startup costs, etc., and stuff like that. So, working with a mentor, she did point out to me that I do, while it is a unique business and it is a growing market, I did need to make myself stand out more. So I sat and thought, what affects me most in my life and how I can make that happen. And I've always had very, very bad menstrual cramps since high school. It's like sometimes I can't even leave the house. There was one time I was out going to meet a friend, and thankfully she canceled when I was on the train so I could turn around. And anybody living in New York, Flatbush, Brooklyn, I was on the Nevin Street 5 train stop and I got off. I was about to wait for the train to go home, but I started like getting dizzy. I saw like I blacked out almost a little bit. I started seeing stars because I was just in so much pain. I had to order an Uber home. I didn't want to like pass out on the train platform. Like that's not cute. So I needed to get home quick. And because of that, I made even more changes in my life. My diet and what I like put in my body just revolves around my like cycle. I don't cook with salt. I try not to eat salt. I don't eat chicken. I don't eat most red meats. I don't eat pork. And that still wasn't enough sometimes. So once I became a Reiki practitioner, I started doing Reiki on myself, and my cramps have gotten better. They've subsided, and I realized also I'm not the only person going through this. Like I've spoken to other Black women. They also have very, very intense and bad menstrual cramps. There were some people that didn't have really bad cramps and they like it just got worse all of a sudden. So I wanted to specialize in womb Reiki and just sacral energy healing. Your sacral chakra has to do a lot with like carrying guilt. It has to do with your creativity, just like your comfort level with things. And I think it's, while all your chakras are very, very important, that chakra in particular was something that wasn't always balanced for me, obviously, with the cramps and the pain. So I want to specialize in that, and I'm choosing to specialize in that with my practice. I do also offer full body Reiki, and I offer both services at a distance, which means like through Zoom, we could do these the Reiki sessions, or over the phone, doesn't have to be over camera. We can also do the Reiki sessions too. But it is important to, if you feel something, don't just wait. Like try to fix it, because in this country, especially if something's wrong, they just try to put a band-aid over it and maintain. I like to fix the problem because it's expensive to be sick, and I
Absolutely.
don't have time for that. And the finances for that, I would rather spend on other stuff, if I'm being honest. So I like to fix the root of the problems if possible. I also want to state very clearly and really quick that I do not believe Reiki healing and holistic healing is the absolute answer. I think it is a complementary health service. I think there is a strong balance between Western and Eastern medicine practices, and it should be balanced as such. Nobody should go one end of the scale extremely. So that is why I focus on balance overall in my life and within my Reiki practice.
I love it. This resonated with me particularly because I grew up with dysmenorrhea, which is extreme cramps. So when you say you was about to be passed out on the 8 train or whatever 5 train and stuff, I would have died if I was like in your position, because when I was a kid, I couldn't go to school. I would be throwing up. I would have diarrhea. I was going through the motions
I
like
had
with
all of
it.
that.
All of it is awful. And When I also thought, like, for us girlies who are perimenopause, Peri is her name, and she is not a punk, okay? Like, there is some other like symptoms that are now arising. Thank God I don't have what I used to have when I was a kid, but I know my bestie, she had an incident where she now has terrible cramps in her 40s. And we have to look at holistic, both Eastern and Western medicine to heal our bodies. It's not enough to just isolate one versus the other. We have to look at a holistic solution. So I'm excited about what you're working on and the possibilities around your business. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Inform Reky, ENFORME dot Reiki. You same thing, whole address for the website. That's pretty much it right now. I'm slowly building a presence, but like the business is up and running, the website is there. You can book a session if you want to learn more. I also have 10-minute free consultations where we can talk on the phone and just figure out what is needed for the individual.
How can the community save you, or how would you like to be saved? Support, amplify,
I,
validate, elevate.
I would like to be saved through, if I'm being honest, bookings. Like book me for your corporate retreat, book me for your, I don't know, girls' day, book me individual sessions, just save me financially. I need to save myself. This year has been crazy. I'm going to share something
Is it tea?
that is hard. It's
Okay.
tea for me. It's not tea on anybody else.
Okay.
So my sister, she is younger than me. She has a full-time job. I'm so grateful and blessed for that. But there were two instances I had to ask my sister for help with bills. And that really like just like hurt me and that broke me because I feel like I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
As the oldest child, I should be the one being able to provide, but it was a lot. I just had to put my pride to the side. And thankfully I have people that care about me. So yes, save me that way.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, like I tell everyone else, this is not the season to struggle in isolation. It's just
It's not.
not. And if you're not asking people for help, whether it's financial, whether it's mental, physical, whatever it looks like, you're doing yourself a disservice. So I know some of my girlfriends who are still working have been very supportive of me, and I'm very grateful for them. And I know how hard, Jayla, girl, I get it. Listen, we have been conditioned, especially being Black women who are, taught to be, we have to be strong, you have to show up, you have to do all these things. And then when you're not able to do so, you feel like you're lesser of a person because now you're unable to provide the things that you were able to provide in the past, and now I got to get help. It's a sign of weakness, but it's not. It's not. Like, if we're doing life alone without community, we're doing ourselves a disservice. So I would flip that and say, I'm so grateful that my sister has a job and she's able to help me out right now. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe, for providing another like Black woman with a piece of employment so that she can show up for me in a time right now where I'm not able to show up for myself. And know
Exactly.
that it's going to this is all temporary. We have to have hope that this is all temporary, and like you said, like everything is happening for a reason, right? So
Yeah.
don't get discouraged. Set that ego aside, y'all. We got to ask for help. Now, we ain't going to go hungry, and if bills are being late and we want to save our credit, I'm asking folks for help. I love that you shared that. I went and drained my 401k. Like, girl, you're not alone in that. Everything you share,
Yeah.
you're not alone. So don't be
Silence is
embarrassed.
suffering. I realized that this year. Silence is truly suffering. And not that I go around telling everybody my business, my story, or anything, but like I either try to avoid, and I also had to learn this year that I'm more than my work. And of course, I knew that, but knowing it and just having to believe and putting in practices a lot. And I'm also very grateful for my best friend. Her career path has been very untraditional as well. She's been laid off several times, and she is like flourishing. Like she is doing amazing. She's in South Korea right now to teaching English. Like she makes things work. Like she's really amazing. And one of the reasons I was so positive this summer, and I know that for sure. So shout out to her too.
Shout out to all the Black women who are encouraging
Shout out to
us.
Black women supporting Black women.
Yes.
Yes, podcast.
Listen, when I started this, it was with the intention that we are going to save ourselves. Like at this point in time in life, and what I've known to always be true is that the people who've always shown up for me have been Black women. So I'm going to continue in this season to lean on Black women, and I'm going to encourage everyone else to do so too that are dealing with this. At this point, there's over 500,000 Black women who have lost their jobs.
Oh,
What,
you
what?
know what? I was thinking about the numbers. I actually just saw like a Instagram post too. It was a very short one. It's relevant. It was like Maxine, what would cause Maxine Shaw to like, I don't know, go into shock or something. And the very last one was the 300,000 Black women unemployed. If you don't know who Maxine Shaw is, you need to watch Living Single. I don't know what Friends is, but Living Single is the best show ever. So, and I was like, I wonder if that number's grown because things I've been hearing, I've been personally hearing more people being laid off.
Yep.
And to hear you say 500,000, that is, it's nuts. That's crazy.
It's nuts. So,
Yeah.
but trouble don't last always. So
I would
thank
don't.
thank you, Jayla, for sharing your story. She shared all the information. We'll link it in the podcast notes itself.
Tired of endless scrolling and travel planning that never leaves the group chat? You deserve a break, not a headache. That's where Timely Travel steps in. We are your dedicated travel concierge, crafting seamless itineraries for busy professionals and groups. We handle everything from flights, accommodations, and tours, saving you an average of 15 hours of planning time per trip. So stop dreaming and start traveling. Visit TIMELEE travel.com today and take our free travel style quiz. Remember, Timely Travel, maximum adventure, minimum effort.
Great transition now for our last segment of the day, which is this week's SAVE strategy. I want to focus on the A in SAVE, which is amplify. I hope Kenyan gets that on the screen. So I wanted to focus on perfection. So one thing that I and most Black women suffer from is like being a perfectionist in everything that you do. Perfection actually silences voices that tell you that you're ready and will have you feeling that you're unready to take the next move, take the next leap. Amplification says your voice matters now, even in progress. So I really want us to focus on amplifying those little voices that are encouraging us to keep chugging along, keep going, keep building, even if it's not perfect. Share your stories, share your ideas, share your drafts publicly. Amplifying imperfect beginnings is a part of your journey, and I want to encourage you to embrace that part of your journey. Amplification is radical. It says our voices don't need polish to deserve power. And with that, I want to thank Jayla for being a guest today. I want you guys to not focus on the numbers so much and not focus on being perfect. Remember, support, amplify, validate, elevate. That's how we save. And never forget, Black women will save Black women. I'm your host, Kamika Dillard. Have a great week.